right. So anyway, it was a month later that I discovered Ashton Kutcher. It all happened in this very condensed period. And it was at a time, too, where I was literally going to throw in the towel on this business because it made no sense. It wasn't making money. What am I doing? I live in Iowa. Why am I? And I feel like for many entrepreneurs, and you hear these stories when you're at that point of either this has to change or I have to figure out something else, everything collided. And I met him in January, met Kutcher in February, and by the summer we were in New York, and in August Kutcher was doing Abercrombie and Fitch. Then he went and did all.
Welcome back to the STL Bucket List Show. I am your host, Lucas Farrell.
I'm your other host, Marissa Thomas.
Of course, we're recording this podcast at Half Coast Studios. Guys, this is the #1 podcast studio in St. Louis. They're going to record it for us, and they're going to put it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and more. So if you guys have a podcast or want to start a podcast, definitely hit those guys up at Half Coast Studios. So today we have two very special guests. We have mother model Jeff and Mary Clarke. How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. We're blessed to have you guys on here. You're bigger than St. Louis, and the stuff that you guys do in St. Louis goes beyond that. I mean, you're in Paris and New York, so just being in Creve Coeur at the studio right now is pretty dope. So, you guys just celebrated 25 years. We wanted to get into your guys' story, so tell us how you met and kind of go from the beginning.
Congratulations, by the way, 25 years.
I discovered Jeff, by the way.
Okay.
Do you guys know that?
No, tell us. I had no idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've known Mary and Jeff for a little bit, so we're gonna really,
Flow with it.
I'll keep it short and sweet. So in 1997, how old were you guys?
Okay, we were born in 95. So it's September 95.
So when
I'm
you were,
November.
when's your birthday?
September 25th.
September 8th.
My dad's September 6th.
Oh,
so.
my dad was
best
September
people.
5th.
The best
I'm a Libra, though. So.
All right.
I'm a Scorpio, though.
Okay.
Scorpio. Yeah,
know.
when's your birthday?
November 16th.
I'm the 21st. So yeah.
Ooh, there's a
I'm the
lot of
cutoff
things happening.
Scorpio. Yeah. Ooh, the energy.
Okay, so super long story short, I was on a layover from LA to Iowa. I had a 4-hour layover in St. Louis in January 11th. Ooh, I can't remember, 12th, 1997. and I was traveling with these models. I had 13 models. This is back when I used to go to a modeling convention, which I do not recommend, but at the time, that's what I did. And I had a 4-hour layover. One of my models had just won Model of the Year. I was like on this whole thing. And I've never, ever left like a 4-hour layover and said, oh, I'm going to go to a mall. But that's what I did. And he was managing a store called Structure. And I scouted him and said, you should be a model.
No, wait, what is this?
Scouted him.
Like either you
Okay,
did scout me or you didn't scout
I
me.
did. That's what I
did scout
did.
me.
I did. I thought, yes. But I just thought he's so cool and interesting looking. Maybe he could do this. And
This was like 50 pounds.
Pop.
Come on, you got it.
Yeah, I still got
You
it.
got it. That's right.
That's right. So anyway, it was a month later that I discovered Ashton Kutcher. It all happened in this very condensed period. And it was at a time, too, where I was literally going to throw in the towel on this business because it made no sense. It wasn't making money. What am I doing? I live in Iowa. Why am I? And I feel like for many entrepreneurs, and you hear these stories when you're at that point of either this has to change or I have to figure out something else, everything collided. And I met him in January, met Kutcher in February, and by the summer we were in New York, and in August Kutcher was doing Abercrombie and Fitch. Then he went and did all of his things, and in the midst of all of it we fell in love, and now here we are.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
4-hour layover.
4-hour
So the layover
layover.
was in Iowa?
Thank God
The
you
layover
sent
was
out your
in St. Louis.
you know?
I worked at Northwest Plaza structure
okay.
store there.
Yeah.
I heard of that place.
Right.
I heard of Northwest.
I've heard of it.
The structure was the men's store for Express.
Yes.
Okay.
So you were in there. So you're in St. Louis. You're just like, I'm going to go to the mall real
Which
quick.
you never did. So like, thank God.
I
you.
literally went because I was at this very low point in my life of going, okay, I'm a newly single mom and I have this dream, but it doesn't make sense what I'm doing, where I'm doing it. None of it made sense. And so I feel it was interesting that I met him in January. And then that February, it was on a Tuesday where I literally sat in my office and I was like, God, if I'm you have to show me, I need to, this doesn't make sense. And it was that following week that my friends took me to a place called the Airliner in Iowa City. And that's where I met Kutcher for the first time.
So how did that go for you? Like when you seen him, I mean, like, because obviously like you guys have been doing this for a long now. So you see somebody you zone and you're like, hey,
Yes.
you talk to him. And even all that can sometimes be awkward. And you go up to Ashton Kutcher. I mean, tell me about that experience.
So I was there with girlfriends who the whole thing of that evening was, we're not going to talk about business. We're not going to talk about, it was ladies' night at
no
the Airliner.
boys, no anything. Yeah.
I was
gonna
like,
have a little
okay,
drinks.
I'm just going to
25 cent
relax. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be
The
nice.
Airliner,
time.
the Airliner has these, remember those pictures? They're like a picture that's almost like a glass. Do you remember how weird that is?
And they bring
I
you
know
on
what you're
food.
talking about because my parents, like my dad had one in the house. Like, I know
it's
exactly
like a
what you're talking-
weird.
Yeah.
So I'm standing in line because you're getting ready to pay cover. And I remember him walking towards, I could see him in the window. I could see him because it's all glass. And I was like, that guy is so cool. I remember he had on a flannel shirt. Do you know what a puka shell necklace is? Or is that too old
The
for
white
you?
shell?
Yeah.
Those the white
Okay.
Abercrombie
Like that,
fits, like model
wannabe
shells. Yeah.
surfer boy
Shell.
look. Yeah.
Yes.
Those were so
He
cool.
was very frat boy, Iowa. And I was like, he's so cool looking. And I was with a girl that did like local fashion shows for me at the mall. And I remember her name's Erin, and she was like, oh, that's Chris Kutcher. He's like a nerd in our class. Like she was very dismissive of him. And I was like, really? He's so cool. And then in my head, and they were like, no, remember, we're not going to do this. This is supposed to be fun. So the bar is 2 levels. And I kept thinking, if I see him again, if I see him when I'm in there, I'm going to go up to him. So I went up on the 2nd floor and he was buying a beer. He was at the bar ordering a beer. And I remember when I went up to him, he was trying to get the beer and I was asking his age because that's one of the things. How old are you? How tall you are? I'm like having this conversation. And he's like looking at me going, I'm 19, but don't, because he's like, cut it. He's like, you're messing with my game. I need to buy this beer. But it was cool because we stood at the bar for probably 10 or 15 minutes. And in that time, he said to me, my big dream is to be an actor. Like we had this conversation, which at that point in his life seemed like the craziest pipe dream, unrealistic thing. But obviously then it happened. He got that 70s show 9 months. Was it 9 months from when I met him?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
It wasn't even a year because a lot of times within the modeling world, you'll place somebody with an agency and then they have a connection with who is still his manager is the actor, Stephanie Simon. And this show came about these kids in the 70s. And he went, I remember we had a phone conversation of him in the limo going, because he met with Fox and he met with NBC. And the original name for the show was Teenage Wasteland. And he was like, there's a show and it seems kind of funny. Or there's this other show that's an NBC show that was about surfer cowboys.
With Bo Derek.
With Bo Derek as the mom.
You know who Bo Derek
Okay.
is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that was a bigger show. It would have been a bigger show.
It was a bigger show, but he took, and Fox was
Fox
like
was
this
new.
brand new baby network. Like it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well, we know it to be now, right?
Right, it wasn't that. So it was kind of even his instincts, just like they are in business. He went with that 70s show. And then we went to his house, fast forward maybe, I don't know how many months. We went to New York and he showed us a VHS tape of the pilot. And we watched it with him and his girlfriend. And I remember we all went up on the rooftop. This was in New York that night. And we were like, I think that your life's getting ready to change. Like, it was like this.
You knew it right off the bat, like when you seen it.
It was special. Like,
It was special, and it was funny. It's the episode where they're all sitting at
They have the intro when it's like spinning around the table and stuff.
It was that.
And at that time, there was nothing
maybe?
like that, probably.
Right.
Yeah, there was nothing like it. And then we walked upstairs, and we're like, wow.
Went to bed.
I think you're going to be on TV.
Things are going to happen for you.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Your dream is coming true. This is
Yeah.
what you said to me, and here we are, just a couple, or
And that happened fast too, 9 months.
Fast. It's
And
like
then
a rocket ship. Man.
And then remember, we went on this trip to Chicago. Remember, we were in your Jeep, and Kutcher was like, the top was off, and we're like, the three of us went to go shopping or something. And he told us the story of how in his wallet, he was like, I have to show you what's been in my wallet since before I met you. And he opened up his wallet, and there was this little piece of paper. And in his psychology class, you're supposed to write down your wildest dream and put it in a piece of paper and put it in your wallet and keep it there. And it was, I want to be an actor and live in Hollywood.
Wow.
He literally showed us this little, it's like a little scrap paper.
just folded in his wallet.
Thank you for that.
Remember?
Yeah, that's cool.
It was cool.
I'm gonna do that again for myself.
We should all do
Yeah.
that.
We should all do
For
that.
real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
I'm
so
a big.
true.
Do you write your goals down a lot? Because a lot of people talk about their goals, but when you physically write them, something in your mind triggers like.
Right.
It literally,
does.
I have written, now I have a book, and on the front of it, it just says big on it, and it sits next to my desk. And whenever I just write it, because everything that we've had in our life up to this point, like we've built it from zero. And we're big believers in you have to write it down. You have to believe it. There's times where I'm encouraging him. There's times where he's encouraging me.
But she always writes it.
Okay.
Yes. But what
You
did I
speak
get
it.
you? What did
Yeah,
I
I
just
sit on
get
it.
you?
Right.
I just got him a journal. I'm like, you have to write it.
Yeah.
So now he has one at his desk.
They say blue
Are you
pen is
using
supposed
it?
to activate more if you write in blue pen.
Really?
That's what I've
Blue?
heard in a book. I've read in a book, but I don't know if that.
Okay, so I'm really strange that I only write with Flair, a Papermate. If you look at, I
Yeah.
have Papermate Flair pens.
They're my favorite.
I have one cup in my desk that it's just a million. I buy them in big boxes.
All the different colors, or just.
just black.
Well, you guys wear
I'm
black
a
a lot.
teacher, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna use
Oh, no, I
purple
love that.
today,
I love that.
or pink, because I'm like, if I'm gonna mark up your paper because something's wrong, I want it to be
Yes.
colorful.
I have to
at least.
write. I have to write it with that
Yeah.
kind of a pen.
Yeah,
I still do
this
that.
too.
I write everything down.
Yeah,
It's
see?
just
Yeah.
something special about actually writing it down that activates it. Like the notes in your phone and notes, but like it's not, you don't physically have
Not
it.
the same.
It's not real.
That's like reading. I love to read, and I got an iPad, so when we travel, I need to touch the paper. I need to highlight. I need to write
the page.
stuff.
Flip the page, see how much longer you
I need
have
to
left.
smell
There's
it.
something satisfying about that.
I go. This book is
You're
really good.
preaching.
Gives me the
Yeah.
audiobook. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Audio.
And you're doing an audiobook. That's so good.
I know. But the thing that freaks me out is it says 10 hours left. I'm like, what?
I don't have 10 hours. Where am I going to fit 10 hours
do you
in?
find
Put it in
10
the
hours.
car and,
Right.
stuff
But
like
how many
that. There's
hours
always
are you
time.
on Instagram? If you really think about it.
I mean, I could check, but
It's a lot.
Or like listen, like
Yeah.
when you're making dinner or something. I don't know. Whatever. Just-
again, that's her.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
I don't make dinner.
Yeah. Whatever.
We would die.
Whatever. While you're waiting for dinner, just listen. Yeah. What else is I don't know. Anything else?
So you guys work together. So, working together is this like interesting dynamic. We've just started doing it a little bit more. She has her own career. I have my own career, but you guys strictly work together. I mean, what kind of advice could you tell people that are trying to do that? Because a lot of people are like, I'm going to start this business with my partner. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And that could be even a friend too, like friendship
Right.
partners. So like, tell me some advice or like ups, downs, ebbs, flows, whatever you guys go through with that.
Well, there's usually two opinions, right?
Right.
But only one matters, and that's hers.
That is not true. That is
Yeah,
not
come on.
true. No.
For real. Come on.
No. We we will talk through. We're not arguers, but we are debaters.
Yeah.
So, but he will say, and it's very true, like he'll be like, oh, what about this? What about that? I'm like, I'll hear it. And then like maybe a week later I go, I just had the best idea.
It is the same idea.
That's my idea, right?
And he'll go.
And I just, it
Yeah.
just happened the other day with you and Jenna. We're talking about something, and I just sat at my desk. I'm like,
That is a good idea.
But we also, I think we naturally fell into roles according to our strengths,
Yeah,
even from the very beginning.
yeah. I mean, when we first started, Mary bought me a briefcase.
It was 1997. You're supposed
It
to
was
have
a Kenneth
Yeah.
Cole briefcase.
It was a Kenneth
You mean
Cole.
business.
It had my initials on
Do
it.
you guys even
too.
know who Kenneth
Yes.
Cole is?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool
dating
though.
ourselves.
That's cool.
Kenneth
I have
Cole's
it still.
still cool,
I have
right?
it still. But we did naturally just fall into it. I remember I made my first phone call to Paris. That freaked me out. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Doing
But-
stuff that scares you, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's just crazy. And you were just working like months before that. You were working at the
retail.
mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really just, for me, I just dove in and it just fell where it fell. And my strengths are her weaknesses and vice versa.
100%.
Why it works.
So,
100%. He has this innate, he's great at management and knowing, we're a management company. People think that Mother isn't, a modeling agency is the actual, the agency that gets the models the work. A management company or a Mother agent, which is what we are within the ecosystem of fashion, our job is to find the model, develop the model, and place them in markets around the world. So we'll have a model that has an agency in New York and somebody else in Paris. And sometimes you're working within a network where there'll be an agency that has different locations around the world. But quite often you're not, where they have different agencies. And he literally knows agencies around the world, what that market's like, what model would be good for that market, and why you would put them in that market as kind of a development. So, for example, we had a girl that spent time in Greece. It's not Paris, but it's a market where you can grow and learn, and it's a little more,
forgiving.
or in
You
the
kind of get
beginning.
your feet wet,
Yeah.
Instead of having a big thing, just chew them up. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, most models are, if you throw them in and they're not ready for that, they just fail. I mean, come on.
And
It's
more-
like a good build up almost
Right.
to what
Yes.
your coaches too. Your coaches,
Oh, wow.
managers.
Oh my gosh.
Videographers, like you guys, I always see him on your guys' Instagram. He's like, in the back.
doing the damn thing.
He's
Yeah.
also like innately good at capturing moments, even with our family, like our kids, but also just knowing this is something that you want to capture. We've been watching the Netflix series on Kanye, and I'm like, I love that they captured all these moments.
Years.
Well, that's just one
Years.
friend that did that, but now you guys will have that with your grandkids.
Right.
You know, but like you guys don't have that.
It's
when
beautiful.
It is beautiful. 'Cause
That documentary is amazing.
It's incredible. I think just like even what you're talking about, people can look at us and go, wow, 25 years, or you've had this success and that success. But really, we always tell our models it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so many people get in this headspace of wanting things to go like this. And honestly, even for Kutcher, it was like 10 months, and he's shooting a show. Well, that sounds really wonderful, but it's also, he was a kid from Iowa that all of a sudden you're thrust into a lot of things. And it's the same with our models who you're from a small town in Kentucky and now you're in LA shooting the Gucci campaign and you're like, I don't even know that I'm ready for this. So our role really ultimately, and that's why Mother is such a perfect name, is to be there for them and to have the conversations. And he is plugged into the phone 24/7 because you're dealing with other time zones. Right. So you have a girl in Paris who's having a bit of a meltdown. It doesn't matter what time it is.
Right.
You're available.
Always.
Always.
Well, I mean, and that, I was going to ask, like, with you guys working together, like, is there a point where, you know, you're clocking out and you're like, okay, this is our time. So I guess, you know, you're having your time, but you still.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm working through a lot of that stuff right now. It's just learning how, because it is 25 years. So it's like we just press the pedal for the past 25 years. And we don't really take vacations. Like, we get to travel and stuff like that, but
you're working.
We're working.
Yes.
Yeah. So the past couple of weeks, it's weird that we're talking about this now, because like the past couple of weeks, it's been like intentional to say, okay, you need to take time away from your phone and work and stuff like that. And I am listening to a book called Stolen Focus. And it's about the go and never stopping, you know, so, and technology taking over your life and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
you guys work at your home.
yeah, I mean, it's
Right.
crazy because you just walk downstairs. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
And when things just happen, and they're going to, because it's part of life, but it's also part of management. And in the business that we're in, the stakes are high. And, you know, it can be like we have a new girl that we're just helping her to understand, and her mother to understand, oh, you might have a job on Monday and it might be this, but it could change overnight. And by the way, and so be ready. You could fly out tomorrow or not.
or today.
Everything moves and shifts really fast. So especially in the beginning, there's this, like, what are you talking about? But the fashion world is filled with creatives and artists, and there's a lot of moving parts. So there's a lot of hurry up and wait. There's a lot of things changing on a dime. We've had scenarios where we once had, I don't know if you want to tell the story, but it's about Katie Fogarty sitting at the restaurant in Paris.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's such an example of our life.
Right.
I
Okay,
mean, for
so
real.
Katie, she confirms Gucci for an exclusive.
She's probably 16 years old at this
Yeah.
16, 17. It used to be that models were younger.
So we fly to Italy, the two of us, and she's at the fitting. Everything's great, confirmed, done and done. We're sitting, eating our celebratory dinner. My phone goes off. Katie tells it now that I literally turned white because I was like, she got canceled.
Wow.
And give the number, because I don't think people.
No, I don't want to give the number.
I would just say that it's what her parents probably make double of what her parents would make in a year. We're talking a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
The prestige of this job, and it's a young
That's her
model
foot in the
that's
door.
new.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
a foot
Yeah.
really in the door.
You're in, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So from that point, like,
Oh my gosh.
I had to like deliver the message. Mary's on the phone with
He
the
called-
mom in
he
Walmart
called
or
me.
something. Like they
I
were
was
celebrating.
this is how I'm at the Walmart in Darien Prairie, Missouri.
Hey, shout out Garden Prairie.
I mean, Lake St. Louis.
Yeah,
baby.
I am.
That's
I'm
right.
literally at Walmart before this, calling her mom she got it. Her mom's like screaming. It's this big thing. Like we're fully invested with her family and when this all happened, this was like an hour after. And then he calls me. By the time I'm back home now, like being the mom, probably making dinner for everybody. And he calls and he just sounds sick. Like, how do I say this to her? Like,
I can still see it
I
now.
was
Like
gonna
I'm literally pacing outside the restaurant, going, "How do I go back in?"
yeah.
Like, you know,
That would
And you guys
make
were
me
already
sick.
there. You guys were.
We were there,
So you had
yeah.
already invested money to fly out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're spending
All
money
that.
to do
Oh, yeah.
to the dinner.
Time.
You're already spending
Our
some
whole
of the
life
money.
is that.
all that.
We're like
So-
rolling the dice.
So here's the crazy part, right? So I don't know if you wanted me to continue with this story.
Yeah,
Okay.
tell-
So the next day, the agency was able to get her in to see Prada.
Which in our world, that is a heavy hitting for a model. That's a really huge deal.
It's like
It's
star
significant.
making
Yeah.
potential. So that was that. So they hired her like for the exclusive. So she couldn't do anything else besides that show. Again, celebrating like this is freaking awesome.
Also, this girl
Switches.
is a girl that we found at West County Mall walking with her friends.
She thought she was in trouble when we went up
yeah,
there.
when we went up to her. She thought that we were coming up to her thinking that she
Stole or
shoplifted.
something.
Or they used to have a curfew. Sometimes they have a curfew.
Oh yeah, or it's like, oh my
She tells the
gosh.
story so great. And her mom's an elementary school teacher and her dad's a pilot. So this is all,
Foreign to them.
Yeah.
foreign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Prada show happens. Back then we had Blackberries. I don't know if you guys know what those are.
Bring
so-
it back,
I
right?
love
Right.
Blackberry. I'm
we
so
were,
sad.
we were BBMing
Like,
back
scroll
and
your
forth.
little
I'm
rolly
BBMing
thing.
with Mary. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's about to start. Like, it's so exciting. The show starts. And I was like, holy crap, Katie just fell. Oh my gosh, she fell again.
Oh, twice?
Oh shit, she
You can
fell
Google.
again. Like,
I'm going to send it. You can Google.
Like-
she fell so many times.
finally, she just took the shoes off and kept walking. But like that was her entrance to the business.
world.
It's like,
She had
mean-
there were these platform shoes and under they had little like anklet socks. So they were slippery. And the runway is kind of like this curve. It wasn't a straight.
snake.
Yeah. And I kept, when he said first that she fell, we're like texting him, like, I said, oh, you mean like trip? And he goes, no, she fell. And then he goes, she just did it again. Like it was this
You're
slow thing. And then you look at YouTube. This was early YouTube also. And it went to 1 million views so fast.
Yeah, and then like
Poor thing.
worldwide news picked it up. Not about her. It was
Okay.
about the
Model
shoes
show
or
itself.
whatever. Yeah.
Other girls fell in the show, but not to the degree that she fell in the show. But the great thing about Katie is afterwards, she was like, everybody knows who I am now. Like she
Hey,
literally,
that's right.
knew, she was like, everybody
it.
knows.
I mean, then she went on and she was walking
She had
like
a major
64
career.
shows a season, like
Huge
worldwide.
career.
It's crazy.
She paid with her modeling in what she made as a model, paid for her full education at NYU, and she just completed her PhD. Wow. This is an amazing young woman. And during that time, the travel and everything that she experienced, and now one of her things that she's really passionate about is helping other young women like her. She's amazing. But that's just one story, like one thing. It's kind of like we always compare it to professional sports because it is such a elevated. These models are literally, we've had for every major fashion brand, I think, at this point. Like I can't think of one that we haven't had.
There was a time that we would get excited about Docker's campaign.
Yeah, in the very beginning.
And we
Dockers!
and we would walk by. Was there a Docker store?
I don't know. I remember
But
we
we
had a
would
girl
go-
from Iowa that was in a Dockers
No,
campaign.
I think there was a store, and we would ask for the advertisement when they were done. So you put it in our office.
Of course. And that's like you talk about a lot is small beginnings and you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to appreciate that. So I see that. And then I also see you guys, would you say you're a family owned, family run? Because you guys involve
Yes.
family in every aspect.
yeah.
And then
Right.
also the people that you work with are family.
Yes.
They're like you're second parents to all these
Yes.
young kids. And they're not all, kids, like they're into adults.
Yes.
You build all these friendships. So tell me what family means to you guys and how you incorporate that into Mother.
I mean, Mother, it's really an imprint of us. I mean, we were just discussing on the way here that we're such giving people, like we just can't help it. And like I started my brand, but when people come over, I'm like, here, I'm like giving everything away. I'm like,
Same thing.
but it's
I'm like,
just,
you can't stop being who you are. Like
Right.
that's
Who you are.
That's who we are. And then you start to realize, I mean, for us, something that we haven't talked a lot about, we started a nonprofit, 501(c)(3) because we come in contact with kids from all walks of life that don't have the parental support or whatever to really do this. We've just always paid for it out of our own pocket to help them realize these dreams. We'd go buy them clothes, or because you want them to feel you don't want them to feel like they don't fit.
Validated. Like
Yeah.
you are-
And so to be able to expand on that, I think during COVID, we did a lot of soul searching of what really matters. And it does matter that it's about family. And even though it's within the modeling world, really, it's about the young people and the imprint that we can make on their life. whether they model for a year or never go on to model, or if they have a career like, you know, looking at what Kutcher and Mila are doing right now, among all the other things that he's done, you just are thankful. You just go, wow, you can never limit the confines of what you're doing to just being that, when it can be so much more. And I think for us, that's how we view it now, because you're 25 years in, you're still passionate about it, and we definitely are. But now we're like, how can we give back more? How can we do more at a broader
as a soul too, like giving back.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's how many people I can help. It's not how much money I can make.
100%.
And the money comes. with
Right.
it.
There's a lot of times that we will have encounters with people and we don't even know the impact until years later.
Yes.
And they write us
They'll
and
write
say,
us.
"Oh my gosh, like I didn't end up becoming that, but this is what I learned from you guys." I mean, it's
At worst case, they gain confidence.
Right.
And if they have confidence,
Which is
then they can do
everything.
anything.
Like we received this letter or email from this man who, when he was young, I think we put him in a fashion show once in St. Louis. And he said up until that point, he never saw himself as anything special, and he was never given a lot of love and support in how he grew up. And that in that time, and I realized this literally when I was walking today, that it's like we're looking to see potential in somebody and whatever that is, but then you realize that then you help them to see themselves. And that's really what it's all about. You help them to see themselves in a different way. And when that happens, it changes everything.
Yes.
Like it literally changes everything. So for him, he went on to start this business, and it was just a really thoughtful letter. And we always say how, yeah, it's really cool to have the Vogue covers and the, you know, all the campaigns with the major fashion brands, but really it's what it does in their lives and the ripple effect that you see in their families' lives. That's other really amazing things. Like I remember Katie Fogarty, who we were just talking about earlier, her brother one time came to a tribute show, and he took us aside and he said, "I want to thank you not only for what you did for my sister, but you changed our whole family's life." And you're like, oh, you're like a pool of,
And you're just doing, like, you're just doing you. Like, you're
Yeah.
just, and the impact and how it, like you said, the ripple effect, it's like, oh, thank you. Like, you just think back
Yes.
on that, and then it makes, you carry that into all of your relationships and everyone.
100%.
So,
I remember being in LA. We went to Kutcher's studio and
yeah. He had a production company at the
production
time.
company. And this, I can't remember the guy's name.
I can't
or
either.
girl. And she was like, "We just want to thank you," like to Mary, you know? And at that point, it was, I think he had 300 people working for him.
Yeah.
And so it was like that moment of that bar that night, like turned into that. And now,
jobs.
right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
boom, you know?
yeah.
It happens all the time now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we do go, what if that moment
Yeah, we
didn't
like to play the
happen?
back. Like I love to play the game of what if I didn't go to the mall that day?
Right.
Yeah. Or what if I gave up? Like, whenever it was
Right.
really hard and I was down in the, you know, in the pits, and I was like,
Right.
I like
be
you were
no
saying,
Karlie
something's
Kloss.
got
And I
to
You were
believe-
change.
close to giving up at that time when
Yeah.
you went to the mall.
I
Like, you were
vow
months
to
away
you,
of it.
the day that okay, so the day that was the week before I found Kutcher. I had an office in Iowa. Iowa in February is like the most gray, brown,
Yes.
cold, dark time. And I was like, and my mom, God rest her soul, was like, well, maybe you could get a job at the bank. And I was like, Mom, look at me.
you imagine?
What I would be like I would be like, get me out of this
Yeah.
teller. I was like,
The lunch, I'm ready to go.
I love that somebody is just not how I'm
Yeah.
wired. And then I was feeling so down. And I remember calling April, who's still in her life. I called her and I said, I need to stay here. I called Chris, Jenna's mom, And I was like, I need you guys. Can you guys pick up the kids from school? I mean, LA, they're little. I don't want them to see me like this. Because it was one of my darkest days. Like, I remember sitting in the office, crying, going, as much as I love this, I have to pay the bills. I'm literally going to be a single mom of 3. That's the reality of my life. How am I going to do this? And I remember in the midst of it crying like it was not good. And then all of a sudden it was just like this peace. It was like all of a sudden this, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be okay, but I know it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And I went home like it was any other day. But there was this good period of maybe 3 hours that I allowed myself to sit at my desk and sob, like get it out.
Yeah.
And I think about how that week later, the other cool part of the story is that Kutcher, it was about a week before I went up to him, he told us the story of how he was going to take his student loan check. He had just gotten his student loan check for the remainder of the year at Iowa. And he was like, if I take this student loan check and buy a flight to LA and just see what could happen. And he walked from where the university is to where his mom lived. And do you remember, I swear there was some story that he had like, I got my backpack, I got my computer. Like he literally walked like Steve Martin in The Jerk. He was like carrying all this stuff and he walked and then he talked himself out of it. He was like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Because he wouldn't have been at the bar that day and all the things that happened.
And then, so when our paths crossed, we always talk about, I literally texted him earlier this year and said, can you believe it's 25 years? He was like, I think about that all the time because it was like this shift
for both of you, actually. You know,
and it all happened at the same time. So our relationship with him is it's just really special. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he had it in him. That's why I think that if people would just open their eyes and look around and pay attention to people that come in their life, because there's been times too when we go up to somebody and it just seems so absurd that they won't even allow themselves to think that it could be something because logic and reason and
right. And same with like shooting your shot. That's an analogy I say all the time is like, you don't have to ask for permission from anybody to try something.
You
Start
don't.
a brand.
Right.
I've started this brand. I didn't know it was going to be this big.
Yes.
I started my marketing company. I quit my job. I was unhappy. So I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to try something.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have 3 kids at the time. didn't have as much risk though.
Yes.
Right.
So I was like, well, if I go broke, I go broke. I can always get another job. I can still always get another job. So I'm going to keep taking risks.
And you battled that. You were like, do I do it? I'm like, do it.
And I couldn't be more broke. The great
It.
thing is, I was like, what's going to happen? I'm going to be more poor?
Right.
Like, what's going to happen?
We can only go up from here, right?
Yes.
We've had some lean times.
Oh, lean.
Like
lean.
I like that terminology, lean.
So like with my business, it's more of a consistent retainer-based type of deal.
Right.
Like you guys have really high highs, really low lows, and you have to invest a lot into the people, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I mean, think of the girls. We had a girl once that we found, I won't say her name, but we found her at a Taylor Swift concert, standing outside of a Taylor Swift concert.
Wait, which girl was this?
At the time, she was working at an ice cream store, and almost all of her belongings were in this little car that she had, including art, which I still have some because she gave it as a gift. Right. And we were like, you're cool, and we think that you could maybe do something. Long story short, classic us. We're like, could you get to St. Louis? We were in North Carolina. Could you get to St. Louis? We can arrange a free photo shoot. We'll take your pictures. We can then submit and see what. And her and her girlfriend were like, well, we don't have the money for gas. We're like,
we'll pay your gas. What's a long drive? We'll get you an Airbnb.
you can stay at our house. What? You don't have this? We'll pay for the hotel halfway there. Because I was like, we can't have them drive. That's too long. They need to have a hotel. So we've got them a hotel room half the way there. But with less than 30 days, she flew to Paris. And then we were like, do you have a passport? No, I don't. But I do have my birth certificate. I'll never forget it. She
Yeah.
I'm going to mess with this. Okay?
That's right.
Oh my God.
Oh, is it?
Remember?
Yeah.
She was like,
It was all like
guess
tore up.
what?
So this was in her car.
Here's my birth certificate.
You're like, hold on, squinting.
Guess what? It had like scotch tape.
paper.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I just had to give
prepared.
it.
No,
I
you don't
wanted to
even.
show the illustration of what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
That is
All of
hilarious.
her clothes were shoved in this suitcase. We send the pictures to Paris. They go, she's perfect. Saint Laurent is looking for a new face that nobody has seen. Do you have anybody? Yes, we do.
We're shooting her right now.
Take the pictures. Oh my gosh, we love her. Then we had to expedite a passport because she doesn't have one.
We had to fly her to New York.
Yes.
She got the passport.
Yes.
Which takes a while.
You had to send the
Right.
passport to New
6
York.
we
8
could
weeks,
expedite
right?
it. So
Yeah, we got it in the same day.
in New York,
Oh.
back in the
Yeah.
day, pre-COVID, you could get one.
Like it was
my
an
gosh.
emergency.
Yeah, emergency. So we get her, then she fly. Then there was like every delay in the world.
Delay at the airport.
Yes. So she literally, when she lands, I remember she had to like sit at the airport for like 9 hours or something and then fly to Paris. There was no time for her to go freshen up. She literally had to go straight there. Took out a wrinkly dress, threw it on, which was part of why they loved her. She looked like she had just rolled out of bed. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that brand and that, they were like, she's fabulous. We love her. They called the agency like an hour later. We want a worldwide exclusive on this girl. Wow. For another big, hefty lawyer salary for one worldwide of this whole thing. And she's like, okay. And so she did that. And how long? That lasted about a year.
Yeah.
And then we were like,
Then she went to Japan.
Oh,
and
yeah, she did.
Like, did super awesome there.
yeah, she did. Then we were like, hey, here's some news. It's important as a model that you take care of yourself. You know, take care of yourself. Like, get up, jump in the shower, do a little toning exercise now and then. And then it was like, you can't tell me that I need to. And that was the end of that career.
Right.
Like, it literally was where you just go, all we can do is open the door and do everything that we can do to help keep them in the game and encourage them. But at the end of the day, it's such an interesting lesson of learning why people don't achieve what they could potentially achieve. So much of it is mindset and
your head.
self-sabotage. It's the
Yeah.
way that somebody sees something is everything.
And you compared it to sports, and like your prime is so small, and you have to like. There's a reason Tom Brady's played in 25 years, and Johnny Manziel played 1. He worked on himself,
Yes.
you know. So
And ego is the death.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, like
It
you
is
gotta-
the
you
death.
probably deal with some big egos, I'm sure, just because you're in front
Drinking
of
their own
cameras.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
And you start, and there'll be times where you'll think, oh, this person's never going to be that way. And then you go,
they get a little money in their pocket. They get some people following them on Instagram. They got a couple 100,000 people
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
they're awesome, and,
Yeah.
and then,
yeah. Yeah.
it's hard, and especially in the digital age. So how have you guys pivoted? Because in '97, you know, there was nothing when it comes to digital. So you were like, just like any industry, you had to pivot. So now these models probably think they can do it on their own. I would assume, because it seems like 90% of people have like model in their bio, but they're not really.
A lot of people think they're a model, you know, and I
If
you know what I'm
I
saying.
can't
you
even
know.
talk about it.
Yeah, I'm just,
Let's go.
Well,
I mean, maybe their models are just not models.
They're not paid.
well,
like what
Instagram
we
model
do.
is different
Yeah.
than a model.
yes.
And I think that people think, I really do believe that the modeling industry is one of the most misunderstood, because people literally think, I think because when you're a beautiful female, a lot of assumptions are made about you. And it's an industry that people think, oh, you just go and you take pictures and you make a lot of money. And they don't realize the travel, what it takes to you have to be able to interact with clients. You have to be able to be professional. You have to have self-discipline. You have to be ready to travel on a dime and go and spend time. There's a lot of alone time. Like there's so many things to it. Oh my gosh, there's so. And the other thing is, a lot of these girls deal with a lot of. Girls can be really mean.
Yeah. But even with like the Instagram girls, you know, they don't have people advocating for them.
That is
so
the
they
truth.
can get in bad situations. Like
100%.
on our side, you know, these clients are vetted. So, you know you're working with someone legit. On Instagram, like anyone can talk to you about anything and you end up in a bad situation.
Send you a
Well, and the other thing is
like a
any
photographer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And anybody
Like,
can
it's
say that they do what we do. We have a lot of, especially in today's world. Well, I'm a mother. I'm a scout too. I'm a mother agent too. I do what you do. And first of all, you're like, I don't think you know what that really is. But second of all, it's so much more than that. And it's relationships. And to do it right, you are a coach, a mentor, you're every one of those things because you have to be. You don't just sit back and go, you go off and do this. Like,
Or you don't smother them too. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's the other.
That's true.
I think some of these new people coming into our industry think that what we do is smother our clients. Like we allow them to grow.
It's just like being
You know,
a good parent.
a good
You're
parent,
there.
So back to our imprint of being on our business. It's like we let our kids be who
You
they're
allow
going
them
to
to
be.
fail and then learn the
You
lesson
have
and
to.
move on.
And then you're there to go, okay, you probably shouldn't do that again. Or, you
Don't
know.
leave the keys in the car.
Jeffrey.
You know who I'm talking about.
But I think too, like the degree of girl or people that will send us pictures that are altered with filters and things. And I'm like, you don't get it. First of all, nobody's looking for perfection. It's not appealing, and it's not appealing to a client. You want real. You want it's so much more than physical beauty, but sometimes people will send somebody and go, "Oh, isn't she so great?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she is. She's a really pretty girl." But in our part of our world, what we're looking for is interesting and different, but also pretty, but also this. So, like it's. I think that the sad thing is this unrealistic expectation or the desire for perfection. And I thought I was going to get through an interview without saying Kardashian, but apparently I'm not.
Go for it.
It's not a judgment of character or of any of that because I don't have issue with that. But I think that the influence of that weird thing is so harmful to not just young women that.
And to men.
Yeah.
You think about it, it's harmful to us too.
Right. That's true. It's very true. That
The idea
This
of
is how you should look,
Right.
and your boobs should be this big,
Right,
and your
exactly.
butt should be this big,
Yeah.
but
Your
your
waist,
abs
right.
somehow is this big,
Yeah.
and your cheekbones struck. Wow, and it's just
and you have no pores and you have no everything is symmetrical. I'm like, that's boring. I think that is incredibly boring and uninspiring. And yet, especially the young people, what they're being spoon fed is really harmful. The cool thing within our industry is it has changed. Body things have changed for positive. The diversity in the early years of our business for probably the first 10. Do you know how hard it was to get a beautiful Black girl to get the attention of an agency? Hard.
Yeah.
They would literally back in the day say, we already have a Black girl.
like
Like they
there can
had
only
their
be
one.
one.
Yes.
You
They
met
had
your
their
quota.
one.
I'm
They
telling
checked
you,
the
that
box,
is
yeah.
how it was. So there is wonderful, great things. A few years back, and we were interviewed. We were so honored to be, we were so honored to be in American Vogue. They did an interview that they were shifting that models at a high level needed to be at least 18. And we were interviewed as part of that article, being in full agreement, because having an opportunity too soon is not good. You want to be as ready as you possibly can be. Eventually, you have to just go for it. But even that is a wonderful shift, and it's a protection for young women to have the best opportunity that they can have in this business. And I've always loved the modeling industry also because it is one industry where what a female makes far surpasses what a guy can make. Not that I'm, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
She makes more than I do.
Yeah.
And
That's why he's in the corner. Because you and Jenna got the nice little
Right.
yeah. each other. So.
Oh my God.
Under the steps, too.
Yeah, I'm under the steps.
You
Everybody
probably
just
wish
walks
you
on
could
them
be
all
under
day.
the steps.
Harry Potter in the cupboard under the stairs.
That would actually make him really happy if you could just be
Away from everybody.
totally. But, those things about our industry, I think it's one of the reasons why. So in 2020 and 2021, you had a lot of time to think. We were like, okay, how can we give more people access to what we know, the knowledge that we have, access to the industry that up to not that long ago, there was almost like gatekeepers that kept, we just kept going. And then you have relationships. And then all of a sudden we are in relationships with the top stylists, photographers, makeup artists, casting directors, the people that really make this industry happen. We're like, what if we do a fashion camp in St. Louis and open that up to anybody who wants to come? 3 days of really showing, because the fashion industry is incredible and there's so many creative people in so many different aspects, and to show people what is out there, we feel really excited about that. Or we created this Model U weekend. In the past 5 years, when we moved down to Midtown, we started doing these weekends where we'd bring our models, the young ones, the ones in development, because they couldn't travel like they used to. So we're like, let's do a couple weekends a year where we just pour ourselves into them. Yes, we work with them on runway and those kinds of things, but we also do a dream board. We talk about what it is to set goals. Like, it's as much of the internal part of it as the external part.
Practice.
And just knowing of, and we were like, why are we limiting this to the small group of models that we work with when this can impact anybody? And so allowing ourselves to go, we want to reach more people and do more of this beyond our management company. And that's when you get excited for the next things,
Yes.
super excited.
There always has to be something next. And that's why I wanted to talk about Model U and that. So you're opening that up for anybody that just wants to build confidence, that wants to get their hair done, get some pictures taken.
Yes.
Or a photographer.
And
or
they
a
can
videographer.
register for that. Like you have one. So when this airs, it will be
4/27.
April. So the next
So
one
it'll
will
be another
May.
one. I think we have 5 weekends scheduled starting March through August. And then in June, so those are just a 2-day weekend. In June, we have a 3-day fashion camp that we're going to do at City Foundry.
Which is where Tribute was.
Which is where Tribute was.
Speaking of tribute,
Yes.
That's my favorite birthday present every year, by the way.
it's on her
Mine
birthday.
too.
Always on my birthday, and I'm like, yes, go to Tribute. Yes.
So speaking of tribute, 10 years, right? 10 years
Yes.
this year or last year.
This will be 10 years.
This will be
This
the
is
10th.
So this
10
is going to
This
be
is
a
our
big.
It's our 25th anniversary and our 10th tribute,
Oh my gosh.
which we did not,
plan.
again, the best things in life.
mean,
we didn't
right?
plan it. We just went, light bulb. Oh my gosh, this is 10 and 25. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the plan for that? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be huge.
Are you going to go, I mean, it's always amazing, but
It's
are
going to
you?
be cool. We're going to go all out.
Yes, we have to. It has to be bigger.
We can't tell
now
you,
you have
though.
to start
that's
doing your own
I mean,
self.
we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're like, so yeah, we're figuring out location. We have some things in mind. We love keeping it in the city. We love Midtown. We're figuring out where that will be. It's always the weekend before Thanksgiving, which is when the models are coming home anyway. So it just kind of works. And it's near your birthday and his birthday.
That's right.
So
I'm gonna bring you a
that's
birthday present this year, Jeff. I really am. Like, cheers us.
and it's always around Alana's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and all that is always on our social, on our website, but we're excited about it. I think too, in 2020, not being able to do it made you really realize how much you love it. Sometimes you can just be on that
Going through the motions.
Going through the
thing
motion,
of
yeah.
it's time for tribute again,
Yeah.
even though you love it.
work
Something
it
about
takes.
not being able to do it.
This year for me, it was the most exciting.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Last
kind
year
of
was
like,
great.
oh, it's Mary's thing, and whatever, but it's not really just her thing.
No.
But I was super excited about it. And then the outcome was like,
I know we sold out so
mind-blowing. It's
fast.
crazy.
And we couldn't have, because of COVID, we couldn't have standing room. Like it was, here's our number.
Yeah.
Like there was.
It's big.
Yeah.
We can't wait.
Party. We'll be there for sure. So how did you start that? Like, what was your idea? Because events are tough, and events are, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. So 10 years ago, you started an event. I mean, did it pop off right away, or was it another small beginnings thing?
Small beginning. I mean, a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
It was a couple hundred people.
We were shocked though. Like
We were shocked.
about how many people.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. I mean, it started because
Well, a couple things.
Yeah, I'll let you tell it because I might start getting emotional.
No. So on the upside, we started to go, wow, we have these models traveling around the world doing all these huge things, and yet no one was really celebrating it back home. There was more regard in New York and Paris and everything for what we do
articles and
than
all that
in
being,
Wall Street Journal and all these.
Hometown.
But as so often happens, in your hometown, it wasn't necessarily happening. Then we started to say too, if you have a model who's walking in all these big shows, the likelihood of their grandma or their uncle or their best friend or whoever seeing them walk in a show is not likely. So it was also us doing that. And it was also at a time in our business where we had been managing Karlie Kloss for a significant amount of time. And,
ended, yeah.
long story short, it ended. And we were really crushed by it. That's the bottom line. We've moved on, it's all. But at the time, rug pulled out kind of feeling. And so at that point, we had been thinking about doing it. And then when that happened, we were like, we can't do it now. We're not going to do it now. Even though we had other models doing everything, it just almost seemed counterintuitive or to have this huge celebration. And then I talked to a friend who was like, no, you need to do it even more now. Mm-hmm. Because you are celebrating what's been done. You're also celebrating what's moving forward. And the funny thing, I remember when it all went down, sitting on our front porch, back when we were still in Darting Prairie, and I remember sitting and thinking, will we ever have another model on the cover of Vogue? Because it's such a prestigious thing. And at that point, we'd had multiple with her. And now if you walk in our office, it's covered with Vogue covers of all kinds of different models. Yeah. But in that moment, it would have been really easy to go, we did everything that we could do. We, that's a whole other story, but we couldn't have done more. Right. And yet this still happens. So then you go, do we even like this? Do we want to keep doing it? Why would we put ourselves out here if this can happen? It was particularly hard, I can say too, for Jeff, because he was more, because the kids were still in school and stuff. So I would do New York and Paris, but every fashion week, he would be traveling for 2 months blocks. You're there, in the trenches doing it. So for him too, he was like, I'm done. So.
But it was nice. We had this, I remember in the location of Tribute, the first one.
Yeah.
And there was a table, and my job was to organize these posters, or they're posters of all the kids coming in, all the models coming in. Mm-hmm. And for me, reading the stuff that we wrote about their careers, we discovered her at a gas station.
Yeah.
Oh, we discovered her at Barnes & Noble. That refreshed me. I was like, wait a minute. We can't stop. Look at
That's why we're doing
this.
that.
Yes, we hung up all these pictures of it literally.
Right. So it wasn't really about me anymore. It was about the gift that we're giving
to each one of these
people.
Yeah.
You said the kids and then the family.
Right.
Parents,
yes.
Not everybody comes from the best situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's meant to be. And so do you guys still actively scout a lot? I'm sure not you guys back in the day.
If you're at dinner, are you kind of
Oh, yeah.
Oh, always.
Yeah. And Mary will be like, Jeff, stop staring. I'm like, it's my job.
Yeah.
Because I'm like this,
Uh-huh.
He's not inconspicuous. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Mary's subtle.
I'm like, can you just not be
But we're going to hit some festivals this summer. And
Yeah.
we haven't been able to do that for 2 years because of COVID.
And we still, we get lots of submissions. And then we found a girl during full quarantine working at Trader Joe's wearing a mask, scouted her, and she spent some time in New York. And
she had a 3-month career. Is like
well,
done.
that happens. That happens too.
That's part of the industry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're always scouting.
Always scouting. I wanted to go back though on not like I'm hosting, but
No, you're good.
I know.
on the whole Instagram model thing.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to hear what your take is on like influencers, because I know that there's a huge industry and it
There
is
is.
legit,
I know.
and there are agencies that do represent those kind of girls.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your take on that.
Oh, like if I think that I want to do that,
yeah.
like
would you
manage
ever-
influencers? Not really.
I love it. Straightforward. She knows.
I just know at a certain point, like for me at this point, you get to a point in your career too where you go, I have this amount of allocated time, and what do I want to do with it? I want to keep doing what we do, but I also think that there's so much more within Model U, yes, for sure, and the nonprofit. But I also have always been like, I have to write a book. I see multiple books. So then you start to go, I have to allocate time. There comes a certain time where just because you could do something doesn't mean that you should do it. Now, if you want to do it, I will totally, okay.
It's like somebody will send them something. You get paid $300 to post a
post.
product.
Yeah,
but there's
the-
bigger ones.
There's bigger ones. Like
There are.
I know people that are like really doing it.
Yeah.
That are vetting and
That
making
are
sure they
great.
get paid rightfully and stuff like that. So I'm not, I shouldn't say I'm a fan of it, but I don't mind it.
Right.
It doesn't interfere with what we do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it.
It's just not inspiring to me.
Right.
You know how you know your thing?
Yes.
I'm more interested in
I can see
melding,
that.
Yeah.
melding music and fashion.
He
like
is.
finding new artists and bringing them into the fashion and beauty space.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I love.
He's
Yeah. We've been on the ground floor for.
Are you going to open that up with the camp at the Foundry? Like, that I don't know.
Yeah, we want to bring
Maybe.
in, yeah.
That's an idea.
That is a good idea.
So like a
Great
young
idea.
musician, super into fashion. You have your fashion brand too. You have all these different aspects.
All
and
the different parts of the.
And so much of those, it's just like with Kutcher, modeling, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, and now because of social, it's even more that things
Crossover.
crossing.
Do you have agencies ask for your models to do social campaigns? Like, hey, I just want them to do a post and like all the time. That's like a form of their campaign. Like it might not be the runway, but it might be a social campaign.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. And now,
they get paid.
yeah.
I can assure you that like someone that has just model in their thing that's trying to do it on their own, they're not making the kind of income that
Yes.
you think.
Right.
Because a lot of times they'll do it for free or a couple $100,
Or a
but
shirt
yeah.
or something
Yes.
little as that.
But then I think if you think of like this brand or whatever, or my brand, if I can give you a shirt or a hat and you'll wear it for free, why would I pay you?
So that's the other thing.
So
Yeah.
And most people will do that. And like you said, like people like Profield, they're a local brand, and
Yeah.
I'm just wearing it just because I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the podcast supporting a local
Yeah.
brand.
Yes.
Like if you gave me a hat, I'd wear it on the podcast.
Right.
You know? And then
Right.
that's
Right.
an hour-long video of me wearing
Yes.
it.
right,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this brand.
Yeah, Profield's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're over there on Cherokee Street. So, speaking of St. Louis, this is the STL Bucket List Show. You guys are, like I said, you guys are Perry and New York and all this big stuff, but you guys do live in the STL. So, we like to have a couple bucket list spots. We're big foodies. So, give us some of your favorite restaurants that you guys go to.
Louis.
Louis
on
is
the
our.
Okay, I
Louis
keep saying
is
this is
it.
where we
Last
need to
week,
go. Like
Jason said that,
next,
I'm telling you,
night.
they nail it on every
Louis.
level.
Okay.
Like,
Pizza or everything?
my best friend Chanel just went there,
Everything.
and she said it was just
it's everything, and it's the staff, the people, everybody there. The atmosphere is beautiful. All of it's really great, and it's not just it's pizza, it's pasta. The chicken there, like I thought Elliot was having like a spiritual experience
Really?
looking at that chicken. He was like, "Look at this chicken." I'm like, "It's pretty."
yeah.
You like Lucky Accomplice. Have you guys been there yet?
We haven't
No.
been there yet.
Yeah, Elliot, like, cause like when you ask a chef something, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
like what I like.
Yeah.
And they're open on like industry, like Monday nights and
Yes.
stuff like that for chefs.
You know, the other place that we love just for the unplug, quiet, great night is Brennan's in the Central Western.
We were just there last Friday.
The atmosphere, what they've
it's
done.
Sexy in there.
Yeah.
It's sexy.
I
I
like
love
the deep
it.
greens. She was like,
The
when
deep
we get our
green.
house, we like
I
that
love
deep
the
green
deep
vibe. And the built-in
green.
shelves are just
Yes.
amazing. And their cocktails.
I love it. It's
All of it.
We were there for going away. Abby Larico works for Channel 5. She's
Oh,
moving
yeah,
to
yeah,
DC.
yeah.
They're moving to DC.
That's great.
Her and Casey Nolan.
Yeah.
So they had a going away party there, and they rented out the whole
Fun.
side room. They had all the snacks and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, it was
So-
a good time.
The
over
atmosphere is
there.
great.
Oh yeah. And they used to be over by you guys, and then they moved.
We
so
love them. They're great.
They were over. They had like a co-working space over
Yeah.
there. It was like a work. It was really a work and leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to go to Louis.
We were members.
Yeah, we'll go.
You
Was
have to go to
everyone
Louis.
saying Louis?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
You have to go to Louis, and then
Saturday
you
night.
have to tell them that they're going to Louis. You should text, because then
what was the
that'll
other
be.
place we love? Pizza.
Oh, the cute little place in the hill.
Yeah.
Pizza de
De
Gloria.
Gloria.
Gloria?
Did you go in? Have you
My
eaten
cousin
inside?
is obsessed
Okay.
with it.
Old
Like
school,
she,
yeah.
It's
But I like
old
the courtyard though,
school.
too.
and
Yeah.
she's been,
Yes.
she's Italian. She's been to Italy, and she said she always is like, I'll list a few places in St. Louis that are like comparable, and
Yeah.
she says Pizza de Gloria.
Oh my
is-
gosh, we love
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah.
So you guys have been to Italy.
I want to
so
go on the
you're-
outside
You
and
know,
like sit on their patio.
What's your favorite place to
I
eat
think
out?
that
besides-
he
like, what's your
is-
favorite place to eat at? Like outside of
In Italy?
or just anywhere, like in New York. Like, what's your favorite
wait.
city to go eat?
Wait, I'll tell
Wait,
you.
wait, wait.
In Milan,
New York.
Milan, Italy is a place called Luini's. It's the best thing you'll ever have. It's like a
He's obsessed with it.
oh my gosh,
You
I'm
dream
sweating.
about it still.
It's like a donut. It's like a donut with mozzarella and
Well, it's like
tomato
a
sauce.
sweet.
like
It's called a
sweet dough.
panzerotti,
The Milan.
Yeah.
but it has a sweet.
Yeah,
but in New
we're
York,
gonna go to Milan. if we're gonna-
Yeah.
I know.
It's called Luini's. It's called
In New York, you have
Luini's.
to go to Little Owl and Little Prince. Those are two of my favorite. Little Owl, Little Prince, Jack's wife Frida for brunch. What else? Cafe Colette in Brooklyn.
Cafe Colette.
You feel like you're like stepping back in time. And
Mercer Kitchen.
Mercer Kitchen.
So do you guys dine for the vibe too? Like you like the whole? Like,
Oh, it
it's-
has-
It's always food, but it's always
Snobby.
entertainment,
If the lighting is off,
I'm just here for the food.
It's gotta be dim.
it
Like
has to be dim. It has to have an ambiance. Oh, and Sauce in New York.
Oh yeah.
They play like old school. It's hip hop, and it's
yeah.
It's loud.
it's loud. It's like you're eating and you're kind of yelling.
But I love that. That's fun though.
But
When
the
you leave
atmosphere,
and your voice
and then
is a
you're
little
like
raspy.
eating, and you're like eating, and you're doing this, and yeah,
Good
that's a great
time.
place.
Yeah, we like experiences. Like we wanna like dine and have like an experience, and we pay money for good food. And
Yeah.
I know, like you guys can care about it, but there's like a lot of people that are so closed on what they eat and like what they spend on food. Like, oh, that's too expensive.
Oh no, that's so fun.
And if you want a private dinner, we can plug you guys
Yes,
for some private
if
dinner.
you want a private
I'm ready
dinner.
for another
We need
one.
to have them on, and I talked to Elliot and Brandon. I'm like, yo, let's come on. Like,
Yes.
let's have Jordy come on, make some cocktails. We could
Yeah.
do whatever in here. Like, that'd
Totally.
be super
Yeah.
sick episode.
cool. Yeah.
And just eat and talk.
Yeah,
you
that's what
know?
we're doing tonight.
talk.
It'd be kind of gross for the mics. But it would be fun.
That's all
Whatever.
right.
Yeah, we're going. We have it tonight.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we're
dinner
doing
at
one
the
tonight.
Loft.
Every time I'm like, oh, I want to go this week.
Yeah, dinners at the loft. Is it dinners at the loft or dinner at the loft?
Dinner at the loft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love it. They
And
do
you guys
great. They're
have
so great.
a property over in Midtown, so you guys are going to eventually build something over there. So that's right
Yes.
across the street from Pappy's, right there. So tell
It's
us.
like
like
kitty
diagonal.
corner, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, diagonal.
Well, I'll tell you the name. Am I allowed to say the name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's called Motherland.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
So,
going to be Motherland.
Oh, I
first
love
thing
But the
it.
restaurant will
Yeah.
be Scouts.
Scouts,
Yeah, we-
yes.
yeah.
It's Motherland. Elvis had Graceland,
Yeah.
and we have Motherland.
Motherland. That's perfect.
So you're going to have your HQ there, and then you're going to have a restaurant there, and probably an event. It's big enough for
Yeah.
a lot. It's
Yeah.
a huge
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
We've been over
And the
there a couple
backyard will be so fun.
That's gonna
Yeah,
be
because we have green
amazing.
space in the back.
Yeah.
So
And the big tree. A great place in Nashville is what's it called? Public House.
Public house.
Is that right?
Yeah, get that down.
It's in the
boys,
backyard.
No plan.
Elliot-
It's
Elliot
so
knows.
funny, like,
Yeah.
because I'm
You feel
going
like
to
you're in
New
somebody's
Orleans with my
backyard.
girlfriends and his sisters, and we have our where we're eating. Reservations are made,
course.
and then it's just the difference of
Yeah.
the guys and the girls. It's
figure it
so
out.
funny.
Oh yeah, it's a great city.
Hilarious.
So we're getting married 2 days after this episode airs. Do you guys have any advice for
Yeah,
us?
give us some advice.
Well, first
Communicate.
of all, yes, about everything.
Talk.
Yeah.
Hold hands.
Forever. We fell in love. Honestly, it happened. Him in St. Louis and me in Iowa, just talking. It was months and months and months of talking. And we told each other everything. So. And
she still liked me. Right
she didn't run away.
Perfect.
Long distance.
It was long distance. And I really think that was a huge part of how we fell in love, and the roots were deep. Plus we were instant family. We had so many things to overcome. It wasn't easy, but it just made us stronger because we would talk about everything. And I saw an interview way back in the day of Paul McCartney talking about, and his wife Linda, when they were married, and people would go, "You're working together, you work together, you're always together, you're inseparable. How does that work?" Almost like, because they're, and I'll never forget him going, "She's my favorite person. I want to be with her all the time. And if it works, then it works." And that's what matters. And even having, I think, common goals, even if they're just parallel, is important. But I also think that when you can do something together, there's like this extra thing, connection. Or whatever. A friend shot video of us at Tribute this year at the beginning, where we did a video opening of a girl that passed away, that included a girl that passed away within some of our other, and she caught us, we were literally like standing together, just looking at this room filled in, all your emotions are like this anyway, but then we had a really, really lovely relationship with Kara, and Jeff really had a heart for her. And it was one of those moments that even having somebody capture just that we're one, we're together, we're going to do this together, and that's just it. And so when you know that, you don't let things stop you. And you're going to have obstacles, you're going to have disagreements, and that's part of it, but you don't let it
cloud the love.
Right? Plus, if you can learn how to make really good scrambled eggs, that's been my
I'm
key.
great at scrambled eggs. I don't eat eggs, so I always make him eggs. Like
Mary's
every weekend he gets eggs. I don't eat eggs.
Thinks that I have some secret thing
Magic
of how I make
wand.
that none can compare. I'm like, they're eggs.
A little milk and cheese.
There's something about it, and coming from
Because it comes from, that's what it is.
The love and the eggs.
I like when the food tastes better when she cooks than when I cook.
It's like, this is so good. I'm like, again, it's eggs. Like,
I try, like I'll say, should I cook?
It's
or can I cook?
toast.
She's like, no.
He's cooked like 3 times in 27 years, so
Really?
I'm good. I have zero
Luke's good at
expectation.
cooking, and we swap a lot,
cool.
That's
so it's
nice.
nice because
you do Monday, I do Tuesday.
we did okay. So like,
that's cool.
I'm just
and then we eat out Friday.
the
Saturday,
grading
Yes.
right now. It's my first year of teaching, so I'm really tired all the
Yeah.
time, and so I'm not as motivated.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, how about
It
you cook
does.
some nights and I'll cook nights, and we'll have a side night, so we're not doing this like, who's cooking dinner tonight? I'm like,
Yes.
you take
That's true.
these 2 nights.
Yeah, we're working on that though. Communication's important, and
Yeah.
goals. Like I have different. We have different goals, of course, and she has her passion, which is teaching and educating.
that's great.
Individual
I was
goals,
comparing
but
that to what you guys do because she's literally changing these kids' lives.
Yes,
at the same age that you guys are
100%.
seeing these, because she works with 14 and 15-year-olds.
Oh, that's great.
Well,
I
freshmen and
love them.
sophomores.
I love
Yeah.
them.
It's a great
I love
age.
them too. I
Yeah.
will until my dying day. I love a teenage girl.
I'm telling you, they're
love
the
them.
best. They're so funny. They're
I
like,
love
Miss Thomas. I'm like, let's hear it. What's the tea today?
Oh my gosh, get ready.
They're gonna tell me.
I always was like, I could in the front of my desk put like the loose seat where the doctor is in, because they would come to me with all their heartbreak and their, like, I think of all the things through the years of just, and now because I've been doing this so long, now those girls are women.
Right.
And then when we were in New York, some of them were there and we all met, and it's like they're instantly back in my head. They're still 15.
That little girl.
Yeah.
And their problems are, they still have a guy problem.
And they're
or
like-
whatever
Yeah,
problem they had.
But they're better about
You have boy
it.
problems. I'm
They're
sure you
better
do.
about it.
Totally. Yeah.
It's so funny when they do tell me things, because I'm like,
They're
I'm
gonna
not
tell you
that
a
far
lot.
removed from it. Like I graduated in 2014. I mean, I'm like, what, 12 years older than them, but I remember it. I remember it so vividly, and I'm like,
everything was
this
so.
is not gonna matter, I promise. But I know it's a big deal right now.
It is a
so
big
let's
deal
work
right
through
now.
it. You know, it's just so
And the
funny.
kids nowadays, like you said, growing up with digital, and then they did remote for 2 years. It's like it's so
that's
much
hard.
different. The conversation,
So
like
different.
looking you in the eyes
Yeah.
and stuff like that, is just crazy. And like she tells me
That's
stories
like a
of these
life
kids.
skill I'm trying to teach them. I'm like, when I talk to you, right here.
We do,
You
when we
know?
would do the weekends, I would make all of the girls put their phones in a basket
I love that. Yep.
because they would be sitting and not communicating with each other. And I'm like, you are going to put your phone in a basket. And then it became the thing. By the end of the day, they each had to tell me something about the other person.
That's good.
Because I'm like, if you're going to be on set, guess what? If you're going to sit on your phone, you're boring, first of all. And plus, you need to learn how to interact with people because they don't. They would literally all 14 girls like sitting on their phones, not even looking.
Build a relationship.
Yeah.
Ask them a question about them. You know, I mean, they come into class and they're all.
I know.
AirPods, and you can't
Right.
see them now because like you can
The
wear
hair,
hats
right.
and their hair, so it's
It's like Willa. She puts her hair over.
I know.
and you'll be talking to her,
That's
she
how.
can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're so plugged into what everybody else is doing. It used to be like, even when we were in high school, it was a little bit different. Like we just cared about what was going on in a 1 mile
Yes.
radius. Like
Yeah.
if I lived in Dardenne Prairie too.
Right.
Like if I'm meeting you at the ICD, we're playing basketball
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
We only knew what was going on there.
The
Now we
movie
see kids in
theater.
LA that are super wealthy,
Right.
Yes.
that are in hype houses, and they have these YouTube channels, and you're like, man, their life is so
And
cool. My
that-
life sucks. I'm depressed or
Right.
something, you know?
Because I'm the one thing, and it's been recent that I've realized how many more of them are dealing with anxiety issues.
Oh, it's
Like
It's
common.
very.
Common.
Yeah. And because of that, like I try to focus a lot of like time on mindfulness, like practices. And I'm like, all right, let's check in. You're going to write a little something about you, or like, we're not going to do work today. Like today was like, here's a coloring book, pick a page out. And it was like nice work. And they're like, this is nice. I'm like, just need to refresh and like,
Right.
you know, can't ease some of that stress of, I mean, schoolwork is one
Yeah.
thing, but then just whatever else social pressures that they're
There's a
dealing
lot
with.
of pressure.
Yes. So just check in.
Yeah.
Check in.
What
That's
advice would
people.
you guys give to those girls or boys that want to get in and want to try something like what you guys do? I mean, is there any ways that they can do stuff on their own before coming to you, or just apply? I mean, what type of advice would you guys give?
I mean, I think that, so like when Elliot was young and he was super passionate about football, he would know everything about the players in the league and the this and the that, but people will come into the modeling world and not know. They'll just think, oh, I look pretty in this picture or whatever, instead of models.com is a great resource where you can literally access information about the top models in the world, the photographers, who styled it, what's the story of this stylist, what's a casting director, those kinds of things. And we do that. We have an online course too on Model U to help teach that, because to think that you can enter into an industry and not have any knowledge of it and be inspiring to the people that this is what they do is silly. You know,
prefer
so
to have knowledge when you come in, but you don't have to have photo shoots and
oh yeah, no.
yeah, you don't need any of that stuff. Just raw potential, I think.
And you tell people like just no filters, no makeup,
Yeah.
just straight face,
Yeah.
no smile, like just like look and like just send us a picture and like you guys
Yes.
look. So you guys get all these submissions. I mean, it's so hard probably to go through.
I can't even. If you guys,
Well, it's
if
predominantly
somebody
my job.
looked at the submissions that we get, I can't even.
She just can't even,
I
guys. That's it.
There's times then the mom in me wants to. You do not need to be sending inappropriate pictures. You know,
Yeah.
the over sexualization of even we've had moms send pictures of 12-year-old girls in heels, and I'm like, no,
In full face, like
no,
Like, they
that
think
is
that's what they
not.
wanted.
That is not. Because the scary thing is, of course, we're going to go, no, that's not. But then there's going to be somebody else that. There's also, you know, Kutcher's really involved and has done a lot with human trafficking. And there are people that use the thing of modeling to lure people in. And so you have to be careful and really know that people that you're communicating are who they say that they
Trusting.
are.
And they really
Or-
want it, so they will do anything. They will
Yes.
do anything it takes to get a chance,
Right.
you know?
Yes.
And that's so sad. And I seen that he did a lot of work with that. And they're doing a lot of work with Ukraine too. I seen that.
Yeah, they're doing.
He just seems like an amazing, I mean, I don't
He's
even, obviously
amazing.
I don't know him personally, but they just seem like an amazing,
Oh, they're great.
humble,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
also giving.
Oh my God,
they
they're
give.
great.
Yeah.
And Mila is like the most down to earth ever. Like they're great. And they do really good things with what they have, which is the key.
You have
That's
to.
what
You
you're
only need
supposed to
so
do.
much. I mean, what, you know, and that's,
Yeah.
it's just
Can't take it with you.
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah.
I like to ask one question before we wrap up.
Okay.
This is like a cool thing for both you guys. It's a question for each. So if you could have a lunch with anyone, dead or alive,
Dead
Oh
or
my gosh,
alive.
that's a tough
Dead
one.
or
Yeah,
alive.
it could be somebody dead, somebody alive. So,
Right.
and it could be, you know, a famous, or it could be just a mentor or
gosh.
something. So I'll start with Jeff.
This
Yeah.
is hard. It's hard.
It's
isn't
hard.
it?
I mean, usually I say
Yeah,
it to you
it's
beforehand.
easy for me right in this moment because I'm on the journey right now. So it would be TD
I knew
Jakes,
that's what he was going to say.
full on. You know, do I have to tell you why?
You can.
Oh, I
if you
mean,
want to, yeah.
I mean, I'm on a self, you know, kind of discovery kind of thing. And I'm a big man of faith, and he's a big man of faith too. So I said to Mary a couple weeks ago, if I ever met this guy, I think I would just like break down and cry, you know, because he's done and seen everything in his life, from being a pastor to writing books to producing movies to, like, you know, saving people's lives. It's like, it's so cool. So
Yeah,
that
he's
would-
inspiring too. I see his mess. I see you share a lot of his
Yeah.
stuff sometimes too. So you will have lunch with
Yeah.
him one day.
Oh,
I believe that.
it.
Yeah,
You will.
I believe
that.
it.
So
I hate to give this answer because I know so many more. But I'm really sitting here going, Mary, you have to be. Oprah.
why do you say that? Oprah's amazing.
Great answer.
Will you take me to lunch with you when you have lunch
Yeah,
with her?
sign me up too.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
I mean,
What would you do? Would you be starstruck? I mean, you guys have seen a lot of famous people.
you just
before.
want to talk,
No,
right?
yeah.
Just
what I would
Yeah,
say to
let me
her.
clarify. I wouldn't be starstruck about TD Jakes.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
You would just be like,
an admiration and like
It's admiration,
I
and
appreciate
respect,
you.
and respect.
Yeah.
For me, I think I literally can say that in those years, when you were talking about shutting down, the one thing that I've maintained when 4 o'clock hits, Mother Mary's done. And you want to know why? Because Oprah was on at 4. Is before you could set your DVR. There was DVR. What's that?
you had
That
to
sounds
record it on a
crazy.
tape, and then if anything
Yeah.
was
VCR
done.
tape.
Yeah, or VCR. I'm sure I probably did that too. But the influence that she had on me as just not limiting myself by the guests that she would have in the conversation. I love talk shows. From the time I was a little girl, I would watch talk shows. I'm a talk show because I love an interview. I want to know, how did you get there? What did you do? What happened then? That's why I love podcasts. And the influence that she had, and I love that she came from nothing.
I was going to say, and her story of itself, like she's interviewing all these other people. How did you get here? But she got where she is. Like she has her own show. And like, if you look at her, her history.
Yes.
a lot of people inspire me like that. People that come
Yeah.
from nothing and just don't quit. And
Right.
just keep
Yeah.
pushing. And she was a woman pushing the envelope when, you know, and that
Oh my
was
gosh.
inspiring to you
And a
guys.
black woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a time that was significant and groundbreaking, and she entered into the world. It came with totally authentic to who she was and with a lot of heart, and didn't let anybody tell her to be anything different. So I would always, because my other person is Bobby Houston, who's from Hillsong, who I love, because I would always, then I started to go, well, I want to see Bobby Houston, but if it really came down to it, and somebody said, you have to decide right now, and they said, and Oprah's outside there right now, I would say,
Open the door.
yeah.
I'm going.
Something I read about like Jay-Z, and it was like, would you, if I gave you $100,000 right now, or you could have 5 hours with Jay-Z and pick his brain, like what would you take? And a lot of people are like, give me 5 hours because I can get that knowledge and that
Yes.
that inspiration that
Yeah.
you'll get from that conversation is worth more than the money.
100%.
Same with, like,
Absolutely, yeah.
If you just had like an hour to sit here with Oprah, like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
I mean,
that's
the
crazy.
other thing that I can say for us, and this is good for you guys too, as a couple and just that we've always had great mentors, always. From the time that young in my business, I felt like maybe this one was an important mentor for this season of my life, and then there would be another person. And then I would always want to be that same thing to other people. But having mentors there to kind of keep your head in the game and keep perspective is really important.
I was just telling her that I was looking for a mentor because I'm like, I have nobody that tells me to go to work. And Google can only answer so many of my questions when it comes to like, what should I do with my money? Like, and obviously like we didn't learn about like money that much growing up. So it's like, what should I do with this? Or should I make this investment? Or should I take this risk? So I'm looking for somebody, and you have to have mentors. And I'm big about taking advice from people. Like I will not take advice from somebody that hasn't been where I've been.
100%.
And hasn't done what I want to do.
Yes.
So that's like a big thing. I think I read that in the
it's
Magic of
really
Thinking Big
important.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's super
Because
important.
like people will give you advice. Your parents will give you advice, or your friends will be like, "Are you sure you're going to quit your job and start a marketing company? You know how hard that is."
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, you know how hard it is to go to work and
not love what you do."
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, and people will give you advice, but then you have another person where you talk about your dreams and you feel like you don't have big enough dreams.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a twofold thing. So
Yeah, and in your industry, it's harder to find someone like I'm given a mentor. I get to choose my mentor. It's, it's another teacher. I get to pick someone I've connected with, and they talk me through things. But for you, it's like this is your company. You don't have anyone above you. Who's like this, directing you here. So, yeah, if you know anyone,
They will appear.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, they'll
Do you know how they say when you
Build it and they come.
that too?
Oh, the dreams.
No, it's something
That's
about
true
when
as
you
well.
need
That's true, yeah.
when you're ready to hear, the teacher will appear.
You have to
Is
be
that Yoda?
I'm gonna write that as my quote of the day next week.
It's a good one
I
though,
like
because
it.
it's the truth. You have to be ready to hear.
You do.
and build it. And I like the build it. They will come. Like that's the field of dreams. But if you build it, like just like Tribute, you built this event.
Yeah.
People will come, and people come from all over the world. But now, like, let's blow it up in St. Louis. Let's make this an event. Let's put St. Louis on the map. And that's our whole goal with the STL Bucket List Show. Is like highlighting these stories, because there's great people that come here and then they move, and then they don't really talk about it that much. Like St. Louis, and we have so much investment coming to your neighborhood, especially.
I know.
Your neighborhood's about to be
Popping off.
Yeah.
Right.
There's time we go, I walk Mercy and I stand on that land, and I'm just like, we're believing it to be huge and successful, because you have to.
You have to.
You have to
And it will
believe
be.
it.
And Motherland is amazing. That just sounds cool. I just want to go to a party there. I just want to go to a cocktail hour there or something.
That's right.
And for Elliot to have his
Motherland.
restaurant,
I
that's just going to be
know.
amazing.
And it to be
cool.
scouts, like it's so, it's just.
It goes back to the family
Perfect.
thing, and that's like the whole episode goes to family.
Yeah.
And just doing stuff that people like, and I feel like all four of us here actually like what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you guys like listening to him, but he talks about.
We've had 10 minutes with him.
Yeah, we got to meet.
I had
we got
dinner with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
somebody I'd want to have dinner with. I
Yeah.
mean, the way he says stuff doesn't
yeah.
He's
resonate
great.
the cussing a lot, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he gets his point across.
Yeah, for sure.
But he said like 4 billion people, and I said this in another podcast, like 4 billion people don't have home running water.
Yeah.
Like half the world doesn't have the basic necessities, and then like only 1% of people actually do what they love. So you're like we're in a 1%.
Yeah.
And that would be, a cool thing to do. Not 1% financially, but just 1% of happiness.
Yeah.
And that's
Passion.
more about it. So yeah, thank you guys for coming
Yeah.
on today.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was cool.
This is
that was fun. Great.
STL Bucket List Show, guys. If you support the show, go to subscribe on YouTube. We'll get more neon signs the more you guys subscribe. So we're at Half Coast Studios. Shout out to Matt in the back for producing this episode so that we can share it with you. So yeah, guys, tap in with the STL Bucket List Show.